So this is the video for homework number 5 of our class, and in this video, in this homework, we're going to start working with the structural template. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to open Revit and I'm going to start a new project using the structural template. Okay, so after my project is loaded, I need to link my architectural project into my structural project. So I'm going to go to my Insert tab and click on Link Revit, and then I'm going to find my homework number 4. Okay, you can use the solution for homework number 4 that I posted on Blackboard. Okay, so now my project is here, but as you can see, I don't have all the elements of my project. This is because I need to go to the Properties tab and change the discipline to Architectural. Okay, so even after doing that, you see that like the furniture, not all the furniture is here. To change that, I'm going to press VG, V as in visibility and G as in graphics. And in the filter list, I'll have selected architecture, and I'll select all. I'll check and hit OK, and everything should be here now. So for the first step of my project, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to link my homework number 4 into my structural project. Then I'll start with the architectural elements. Okay. So before we jump into that, let's create the levels that we need for our project. Let's open any elevation that we have here. Okay. And as you can see, it's a little confusing, but I have two sets of levels. The first set of levels are the levels from my homework number 4 that if, like, let's say I select this and I temporarily hide that, it's all going to go away and I only have my structural levels. Okay, so I'm going to copy this, and this will be my level roof. Okay, and on top of that, we also have our foundation level with the elevation -6. Okay. Okay, I assume you guys are already familiar with how to copy levels and how to temporarily hide and isolate elements. Okay, so back to my level 1 here. Let's change it again. Discipline architectural and VG, select all. Okay, this is for my level 1. Before we were on our level 2, and I'll just delete the analytical levels just because we're not going to use for this project. Okay, and now let's start working on the grids that we have in our project. So as we can see, this is how my grid should look like. Okay, and I'm going to let my grids open here, and I'll have Revit open on the other side. Okay, so to create grids, I'm going to go to the Architecture tab, and on this group, Datum, I'll select Grid, or you can press the shortcut GR. Okay, and the grid always goes in this project in a center line. Okay, so after I create my first grid, to create the second one, you see that it's 14 feet apart. So I can select my grid, I can press CO to copy, and I'll click and I'll drag and I'll press 14, enter, and then I can do the same thing for 12 space 2 to create my grid number 3, and I'll do the same thing, copy 13.1 and copy 6. Okay, now I'll create my horizontal grids starting here. So you see that if I keep drawing, my grid are still going to be as numbers, so I can double click and change it to letters. Okay, and I'm going to do 8.4 for my grid B, and 4.4, 7, 3, 7, 5, and 4, 2. So that way I have all the grids that I need in my project. Okay. Okay, so if you go to level 2 and like any other views, all my grids are still gonna be here. Grids are not view specific. Okay. So let's insert now our columns. Let's see what kind of columns we have in our project. Now here we go to the structure tab and let's see if we have concrete columns. We do. If you do not, you can just click on load family and Revit should have a concrete column family that you can download, that you can load in your project. Okay. So when I'm inserting columns in my project, there is an option here that we can click add grids, and then I can select, if you read down here, select grids, grid lines to place structural columns at intersection points. So I'm going to select these grids and these ones. I'm holding Control to select all of them, and I'm going to click on finish. Okay. So now if I go to a 3D view, this is how my 3D view looks like. So I'm going to change the discipline to architectural, and I'll have fine details and hidden line. So this is how it's going to look like. So I don't want to see this part of my project, my Revit link. So I'm going to press VG. I'm going to go to the Revit links tab and uncheck it, and I'll hit OK. Awesome. So if you go to wireframe, you see that like we have some lines here, blue, red, green lines, and I also want to get rid of those lines. So I'll press VG and I'll go to analytical model categories and I'll uncheck my analytical model. Okay, perfect. Okay, as you can see now, these columns start on the base level, the base offset of -9 and go up to 0. That's not what I want. I want them to start at level 1, and first I'll make them go to level 2, and I'll type 0 for my base offset. Perfect. That's how I want all my columns to be. Okay. And I'm going to, for some of the columns, they are going to go actually all the way up to the roof level, and we'll have a better idea of how that looks like once our project is done. So let's do the top offset as the roof, but we'll have to come back and change that later. Okay, so I have all the columns in my project that I need, and I'm going to delete some of them, okay, that we don't need. For example, this one is not where I want them to be. Okay, let's delete this one, this one, okay, and I'll keep deleting. Okay, until I see that this looks like what I have here. Okay, for all my columns. Okay, I can delete this. Let's see, this column as well. This stays, and let's go grid by grid. Let's go on grid A. We'll have 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grid B, we'll have these 2 only. So I'm going to delete this and this. Grid C, let's see. I have this is good, this one is good, this one is good, and this one is good. However, I want to change the, let's see, the size is okay. I just want to change the orientation of this column, so I can just select it and press space. Okay, you can do that if you would like to. Alright, so grid C is okay. Grid D, we only have 1 column on the left. Grid E, we have these ones. And grid F, that's correct, we have 4 columns here. So That's all we have to do for our columns. For our beams, we basically are going to connect the columns, okay, that we have. So I'm going to temporarily hide my Revit link, and I'm going to click on Structure and Beam, and I'm going to select a concrete beam, okay, and then I'm going to click on one of my columns and drag my beam all the way here, okay, and I'll keep doing that for my other grids as well. Okay, here, and it goes here. Okay, like this. And on grid 3 goes all the way up there. Okay, and we have one more that goes here. Okay, perfect. So this is how it should look like for my beams, okay? And so when we go to my 3D view, this is how my beams are going to look like, okay? And let's see if they're correct. They go up to level 1, that's right. So I'm going to select one of my beams, and I'm going to press SA, S in select, and A as in all, so select all. And I'm going to copy them and paste, align to select the levels, and I'll select levels 2 and roof. So all my beams are here now, okay? However, you will notice that I don't need some of those beams, that I actually need to delete some. So I'm going to put my Revit link back to where it was, and I'm going to go to my to VG again, architecture, and select everything that I have. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to start deleting some elements that I don't need. For example, this beam doesn't need to go all the way up there. This beam actually only goes up to this column, okay? And this beam, for instance, I'm going to move it back, and this beam as well. Okay. Let's change that. Okay. Let me hide my Revit link for a second. Actually, I can delete this beam right here. Okay. And I don't need this beam, I'm going to delete it. And for these columns that are here, I'm actually going to select them, and I'll change the top level. That needs to be actual level 2, okay? Because they only go in the garage. Alright. Okay, this beam is okay. Actually, this beam doesn't have to go all the way here. You can leave it if you want to, but I'm just going to move it a little bit. Okay, there we go. This looks good now. So now I have all my beams and columns that I need in my project. Actually, I'm going to move my columns, the bottom part, all the way down to the foundations. I'll select one column, I'll press SA, as in select, and A as in all, and the base level will be my foundation level. So they're going to be sticking out like that. Okay. Alright, so now I need to take care of my foundation, which is the next element. So let's go to my level 1, and I'm going to click on the Structure tab, Group Foundation, and Isolate it. So what I'll do now is select a size and place at the structural columns. So I'll click on all my columns, but remember that I need to hold Control to select all the columns that I want. Okay. Okay. And some of them are going to be really close, and we can fix that. And let's hit finish, and then it says none of them are visible because we created on the level foundation, and here they are. Okay, because of that, I'm going to create a new plan view, structural plan and foundation, and I'll hit OK. And here is my foundation. So what I'll do is to make room so that the foundation can fit, I'll select the foundations and I'll press space. Okay, so I'll go here again, isolated, and I'll press space, and I'll click cut columns. So here, here, space. Oh, I need to do actually one by one. Cut columns. Okay. Okay, these two, and then I'll press space and rotate both of them at the same time. I'll go to, there is only one more that we're missing, and I'll hit OK. That's good. Alright, so I'll go to my 3D view to double check if I have all the foundation that I need, and looks like I do have all of them. Okay, so now what's missing is the structural floors. Okay, so I'll go to my level 1, and it's just like you guys did for the architectural floor. You go to structure and you are going to click the structural floor. Okay, floor structural, and you will need to select for example 6-inch concrete. Let's see the specifications. Structural floor, it doesn't give any specifications. I'm just going to make it a little thicker. Instead of 6 inches, I'm going to do 8 inches. So this will be 8 inches. Okay. And then I'll select my boundary just like I did with the other project. Okay. Okay. So first floor, it goes like this. Remember, we can use the TR option, trim/extend. Okay. Alright, once you're done, just hit finish. And let's go to our 3D view, and I'm going to temporarily hide this. Okay, that looks good. So I'm going to select my floor. I'm pressing tab until selected. And I'll copy and paste a line to select the levels, these two levels, okay? But as you know, we need to modify a little bit. So for level 2, for example, level 2 is still okay, but for my level roof, I need to edit the boundary of this floor right here, right? So let's create a new floor plan, that is the roof one. And now I'm going to double click, and I'm going to, first of all, let me hide my Revit link. I don't want to see it for now. So now I can double click, and I'm going to pick some lines here, and I'm pressing TR to join the lines, and I'm going to delete this one and hit OK. So this is how my final model should look like, okay? And you guys can double check here to see how it actually looks like. Sounds good? Alright, so now I need to create the views, okay? So I need to create two 2D views. The first one is the level 1, just like it's here, and level foundation. So you don't need to print any PDF sheets, you just need to leave it like this. Your level 1 should look like this. Your level foundation should look like this. However, you need to dimension the distance between the grids. So just press DI, okay, and I'm clicking on the dimensions here, just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing for the level foundation. Okay, the distance between the grids should be the same because grids are not 2D views are not view specific when you create them. Alright, so this is how my level 1 and level foundation should look like. Foundation level 1, and I need to create, let's see, 2 3D views. Okay, the first one should look like this, and the second one should look like this. So let me duplicate the view, and I'll rename it perspective, and I'll just click here, just like that. Remember just to save orientation and lock view, and I'm going to duplicate this one, and this one will be my top view. Okay, alright, and I'm going to click here. I'm going to make use of the cube, okay, and I'm going to save orientation and lock view. Okay, so this will be all for our homework number 5, and if you guys have any questions, please let me know.